Hi, welcome to Competitive Botany YouTube channel. In this video, you are going to learn cell theory. To get my next video or notifications, subscribe the channel and then tap bell icon and watch this video until the end to get complete information. Please share this video to your friends, colleagues who are preparing for the government jobs related to the botany. It will be very much helpful to them. Let's go to the class. Let's start with the first question. The study related to the structure and function of cells is known as. Answer is cytology. In 16th century, Zacharias Janssen invented the first microscope that led to the discovery of cell. Cells were first discovered by Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke identified dead cells for the first time in the plant Quercus sober in the section of Cork. Okay. Cell is a basic unit of an organism. All organisms are composed of cells. Cell is also a unit of structure and unit of function. The term cell was coined by the scientist Robert Hooke. He discovered the cell and he also coined the term cell. Living cells were first observed by the scientist Antony van Leeuwenhoek. He observed some bacteria and protozoa. He named them as animalcules or little animals. Now coming to our actual topic, that is cell theory. Cell theory was formulated based on two publications in 1800. The first publication was by Jacob Matthias Sleeden. He proposed that all plant tissue is made from cells. The second publication was by the scientist Theodor Schwann in the year 1839, in which he proposed that all animal tissues made from cells. These two generalizations, after some modifications, came to known as cell theory. So, here the competitive bits. Sleeden applied cell theory to plants. Schwann applied cell theory to animals. So, collectively, the cell theory was proposed by these two scientists, Sleeden and Schwann, in the year 1839. Cell theory says that all organisms are made up of one or more cells. Cell is the structural and functional unit of organism, such as both plants and animals. Cell theory is not applicable to viruses because they have no cellular organization, because viruses are acellular and ultrascopic obligate parasites. That's why the cell theory is not applicable to viruses. The scope of cell theory was extended by Rudolf Virchow. Rudolf Virchow in the year 1858 extended the cell theory by giving an additional feature, that means he gave a sentence, that is omnis cellulae cellula. This statement was given by Rudolf Virchow. The meaning of this statement is all cells arise from the pre-existing cells. All cells that are arise from the pre-existing cells. This is also called as cell lineage theory. So, the classical cell theory proposed collectively by the three scientists such as Sleeden, Schwann, and Rudolf Virchow. These three scientists, they have collectively given the cell theory, classical cell theory. Next question is, who extended the cell theory to protists? Answer is Siebold. The answer is Siebold. Now coming to the classical cell theory, I have already told you that classical cell theory proposed collectively by the three scientists such as Schleiden and Schwann and Rudolf Virchow. Okay, so let's see the important points of classical cell theory. The first one is all organisms are made up of one or more cells. Second point is cells are the fundamental, functional and structural unit of life. The third point is all cells come from the pre-existing cells. Now we'll discuss the modern cell theory. First point is all living things are made up of cells. The second important point is the cell is the smallest fundamental unit of structure and function. The third is all cells come from the pre-existing cells by the division. Next point is all cells are basically same and they have same chemical composition and metabolic processes. Next, some organisms are unicellular, that means they are made up of single cell, or other are multicellular, that means they are composed of many cells. Next point is all cells contain genetic material which is passed from the cell to cell during the cell division. Next important point is the activity of an organism that depends on the total activity of independent cells. So this is regarding the modern cell theory. Now coming to another important thing, that is prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Depending upon the structure of nucleus, living cells are divided into two categories such as prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Let's see the first one, prokaryotic cell. Here I have given the bacterial cell as an example. So cells, that means prokaryotic cells having primitive nucleus. That means nuclear material is naked. There is no nuclear envelope around the nuclear material. That's why they are called as prokaryotic cells. They have single circular chromosome. It contains a circular double-stranded DNA molecule, and prokaryotes have simple cellular organization. They lack membrane-bound organelles, but they have only 70s type of ribosomes. That's why the ribosomes are also called as a universal organelles. So this is regarding the prokaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cell, nothing but it lack nuclear envelope. That's why they are referred as primitive cells or prokaryotic cells. Next, coming to deal eukaryotic cells. Eukaryotic cells, nothing but they have true nucleus. Eukaryotic cell also contain a definite nuclear membrane surrounding the chromosome or nuclear material. They contain all membrane-bound organelles like mitochondria, chloroplast, Golgi body, endoplasmic reticulum and ribosomes. But here the ribosomes are 80s type of ribosomes. In prokaryotes, there are 70s type of ribosomes. Examples are fungi, plants and animals. These are the eukaryotic cells.